Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 10th Annual RefoRC Conference on Early Modern Christianity. My name is Zsombor Tóth, and I'm the organizer of this conference, which is hosted by the Research Center of the Humanities at Budapest. This is a jubilee edition of an impressive series of conferences. Everything started 10 years ago when the very first RefoRC conference had been organized by Peter Opitz at the University of Zurich. This year, the conference is reflecting on the issue of long Reformation and is hosted by the Research Center for the Humanities of the Eötvös-Loránd Research Network. This conference is also part of the research agenda of the Long Reformation in Eastern Europe, a research project which is supported by the Hungarian Academy of Sciences and by RefoRC as well. This Jubilee conference coincides with a 10 years long membership of the Research Center, and during this decade of scholarly activities, scholarly undertakings, I dare to say that we had a certain, hopefully a consistent and a positive contribution to the development of this amazing platform. We were able to attract new partners from Eastern Europe, and since 2018, benefiting from this long Reformation in Eastern Europe 15 to 1800 project, we were able to finance and to coagulate some disparate research projects and organize a complex research on long Reformation in Eastern Europe. So it is this particular context, a Jubilee edition of the RefoRC conferences and our 10 years membership, that I would like to introduce to you Professor Balog, the General Director of the Research Center of the Humanities. He was the man, I think, who almost exactly 10 years ago signed the first contract. And this is how we became RefoRC members. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Balog, the General Director of the Research Center.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, dear friends, welcome to this year's event of the annual RefoRC Conference on Early Modern Christianity, held under of the RefoRC 500 program, the Long Reformation, Confessions, Cultures and Societies. It gives me great pleasure that the organizing committee, headed by Professor Zsombor Tóth, put together a particularly content-rich conference. This 10th RefoRC 500 conference is truly worthy of marking the anniversary. During the 3-day conference, there will be 80 presentations in 25 short paper panels, as well as 7 plenary sessions. In the 5 sections running simultaneously, the presentations are grouped around 23 fascinating topics. The papers discuss remarkably diverse topics about a wide variety of aspects of religion. The theme that spans 400 years of the Long Reformation addresses the connections between the religious movement and everyday life, art, literacy, confessionalization, theological debates, the history of books, wars and conflicts, and many other issues of the period between 1400 and 1800. It is very unfortunate that due to the extraordinary situation of the pandemic, we do not have the opportunity to meet personally and listen to each other in real life. On the other hand, thanks to technological advances, however, we can still interact via electronic media and hold an online conference. Our speakers come from 3 continents and about 20 countries. A warm welcome to all speakers from all countries. I'm pleased to see that we have speakers even from countries that traditionally have a Roman Catholic majority and religious traditions, such as Poland and Italy. Allow me some remarks on my personal connectedness to the topic, apart from the fact that I am a Reformed Presbyterian myself. Perhaps among the many historians, theologians, cultural historians, I am the only ethnographer in the audience. In not one of my most important field research, I often experienced the decisive community and mentality forming effects of the Reformed religion, In my dissertation, for example, in a socio-economic anthropological approach to a Hungarian village community of mixed religion, I observed significant differences between the economic behavior and economic aspirations of the Catholic and Reformed groups. While studying Hungarian communities in the Midwest of the United States, it became clear that the Reformed Church is of great importance in the preservation of ethnic and national identity and community cohesion. Finally, during my most significant fieldwork in the Transylvanian Kolotaseg region, the inhabitants of which are predominantly Reformed Hungarians, it also became evident what an influential force the Reformation has been for centuries, not only in terms of religious observances and art, but also in everyday life and mentality. I am pleased to welcome a number of speakers from the USA, as well as from Transylvania, which was the first in Europe to proclaim a relatively comprehensive religious tolerance. My personal connection to the theme of the conference goes back even further to my childhood in the mid-70s, when access to parochial schools was very limited or non-existent in Hungary. I had the opportunity to attend the Reformed Elementary School in Utrecht, the Netherlands, for a year. Singing Dutch psalms as a schoolboy in the magnificent Utrecht Cathedral was a profound experience that I still cherish. To this day, I remember the melodies and lyrics. Loof de koning, heel mijn wezen, gij bestaat in zijn geduld, want uw leven is genezen and vergevenis is good. I learned many important things about the Reformation among the Dutch people. For example, that after the First World War, impoverished Hungarian children orphaned by the war were taken in and raised Dutch families. This 20th century story reflects the sense of religious connectedness nourished by the historical roots of the Reformation that characterized major centers of European Protestant movements such as Switzerland, Germany, and other European countries, including the Netherlands and Hungary. I would like to welcome our Dutch presenters, and especially Professor Herman Selderhuis, the director of the RefoRC 500 program. It is a nice and uplifting memory for me that it was exactly 10 years ago that I welcomed him personally to Budapest when I signed our institution's accession agreement with the 500 program as Deputy Director General of the Research Center for the Humanities. The past 10 years have proved very fruitful indeed. Each year, the program hosted a great conference where researchers studying the Reformation from a wide variety of approaches could share their scientific findings and discuss their ideas. At the pre-conference of this remarkable decade, I wish you thrilling talks and thought-provoking discussions. In the spirit of these thoughts, I now open the conference. Thank you for your honoring attention.
Professor Balázs, thank you very much. Before inviting Herman Selderhuis, the president of the Reformation Research Consortium, to say a few words, I would like to say about Herman that if we were in a more intimate environment, I would just say Habemus Papam. But in this more formal environment, I just say that, ladies and gentlemen, Herman Selderhuis, the president of the Reformation Research Consortium.
Thank you, Zsombor, for your kind words. Let me start with thanking you for organizing this conference. You and your team, you have worked very hard to make this possible. It was a tough decision not to have an in-person conference. It was maybe even a tougher decision to make it a hybrid one, because we know that that is even more challenging than having it either in person or just online. But you managed, you and your team, and you worked very hard until late last night. So thank you for this. We have good memories that really go back since 10 years already. And from that moment on, we focused on events and institutions and partners in Central and Eastern Europe, and with good result. I will say something more about that a little later. Maybe also, now that I hear all kinds of sounds for the upcoming speakers, it would be good to mute your microphone, because we have a large group, and if microphones are not muted, we have a lot of extra sounds which will disturb the visitor. We started with the Hungarian Academy, and we just heard that the name has changed. Thank you, General Director Balog. Just before we started this meeting, we exchanged some words in Dutch, and I can say you speak Dutch with even less accent than I do, coming from close to the German border. So it was good to hear that. Thanks for your hospitality that we have enjoyed, not only 10 years ago and not only today, but many times in between as well. We have a wonderful institution at a new location, and we would have loved to just be there with you. So I can really say that we miss you, but not only you, we also miss Budapest. And I must say it was nice to introduce this conference with this nice film, with this overview of Budapest, but it is also that most of us look at it with pain in our hearts, because we would have loved to walk along the Danube and enjoy meals and wine and hospitality and discuss things. So maybe we can catch up on that some other time. This long and stable connection between you and us results in this conference, which is the 10th, but it should have been the 11th. And after me, Karla Boersma will say something more about this. Zsombor, you mentioned the focus on Central and Eastern Europe. We have gotten to know many researchers. We could encourage young researchers. We did several conferences. That you have a magnificent collection of books and libraries and research centers and archives that still are waiting to be discovered. And I think this conference also shows that RefoRC, the Reformation Research Consortium, has a wide field. It's wider than just Western Europe. It's wider than Lutheran, Reformed, and Catholic. It is, like we say, international, interdisciplinary, and interconfessional. So we see that reflected also in the papers that are ahead of us, and we look forward to the program. I want to welcome also those that stood up very early or didn't even go to bed, as I see some of you, not by the way you look, but I know where you are. Welcome to this conference. It is also, I think, for us challenging. We know, since we've been in this pandemic for a long time now, that it costs some energy to visit, take part in digital activities. But the program is so attractive that I'm sure we will manage together. I think this is what I just said about the focus on long Reformation relates also to the new issue of the Journal of Early Modern Christianity that had just come out with a focus on Transylvania. You will all receive a copy of that journal, of course, and I want to thank Ulrich Wien for organizing this issue together with the general editor of the journal, Wim François and Violette Soon. I think that's enough for an introduction. We are happy to be with you digitally. I did hear a long time ago already that Zsombor and Dr. Balog, they had prepared a gift for those that were present. Please do not give it away or sell it. We will pick it up as soon as we can travel again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Herman, for your thoughts. Before carrying on, just a technical message on behalf of the staff. please, all of you who are not speaking right now, just turn off your microphone. Thank you very much. Speaking of organizational efforts and putting together this conference, which is indeed, it's a bit terrifying because there's no precedent to it. This is the very first hybrid conference, and I dare say that it's more than just a simple conference. It's a complex event which involves not only scholarly sessions but many other things. And I think that there's someone, a very, very special person I would like to mention and invite to say a few words. I usually refer to her as the mastermind behind everything, and she is Karla Boersma, Director of Operation. Karla, the floor is yours.
Zsombor, thank you so much for your kind words. Let me first say thank you all for being here. I realize this is not self-evident, because many of us might have had their challenges before entering this conference room. In fact, I got lost just 5 minutes ago, so I had to enter the room again. Anyway, it's great that from all parts of the world you made it to this hybrid conference. Congratulations and also welcome on my part. As Zsombor already mentioned, in 2011, the first RefoRC conference was held in Zurich, hosted by Peter Opitz and his team. The goal was to give especially young scholars a podium where they could present their research and also to connect both junior and senior scholars so that they can learn from each other and strengthen each other's research. During the years, 8 more annual RefoRC conferences followed, and we just started the 10th one. Unfortunately, and Herman said it, we missed one annual RefoRC conference, namely the one that we prepared for 2020, together with Bo Holm and his team from Aarhus University. We were too late to turn it into a hybrid conference and had to cancel it. However, some of you have made it from Aarhus to Budapest and now give their paper here. That's great. And some choose for the alternative conference organized by Bo Holm later this month. Bo, I do appreciate your attendance here on this conference, and I feel sorry that we had to skip Aarhus, but I wish you a successful conference on Reformation and everyday life later this month. RefoRC focuses on connecting academics, because this is how new relations, new ideas and new projects are born. During a physical conference, this happens more or less automatically while meeting each other, but now it's a bit more complicated. Therefore, I encourage you to contact your fellow scholars directly via Teams. Please also connect with the publishers on the virtual book fair, which you can access via the password protected area of our website. There will be 9 publishers present with a virtual book table, and most of them are waiting for you for a live chat during breaks or before conference start. Attractive discounts also apply, so it's worth taking a look. And of course, as to connecting academics, you are all invited to connect during our online reception tomorrow evening. If you want to see how we connected academics in the past 10 years, you can have a look at a video with images of previous conferences. It will be shown during breaks. And for those who are on social media, we use the hashtag RefoRC 2021, and RefoRC is now all in capitals. I wish you, all the presenters, the attendants, the host institution Research Center for the Humanities, and the organizers and technicians, Zsombor Tóth and his team, who are doing an excellent job, a wonderful, meaningful and unforgettable RefoRC conference on early modern Christianity, maintaining or expanding your personal contacts. Thank you very much.
Karla, thank you very much for your thoughts. I also would like to say that you and Herman and actually the whole board of RefoRC contributed and is contributing to this conference, and it is not without you that we will be able to have a decent conference.